Okay, all right, we are live. Hopefully everybody can hear me. Let's make sure everything is sounding good. Please tell me if you can hear me and see me okay. Okay, can you hear me all right? All right. Okay, well, a little bit different. I'm in my new studio, if you don't already notice. But it's not ready yet. I have echo here. I need to soundproof the room. I'll show you in a minute what it looks like. It's a disaster area, but we're building it out, and it's hopefully coming along. All right, so we got a little bit of a different setup here today. I want to say hello to everybody. We got 28 of you watching. A impromptu live stream. I was here setting up the new studio, and I decided, what the hell, let's just go live. Talk about the Apple event today, because it was a big news today, of course. Hope everybody's doing well. Of course, I moved to the new studio this past weekend, so there was no live stream. Now, let's get a look at it, okay? Let's see what we're dealing with here. It's a bigger space, a much bigger space. And it's more echo in the room, so I will have to soundproof it at some point. So I'm going to switch to camera 2, and you can see behind me the wall. And let's swing it around here, and you can see. Let me stand up. You can see, exactly all the things. I got a little sofa back there, but you just gonna see it's really not ready yet. Stairway to upstairs, and then. So, you get the picture. So, really pretty interesting stuff to do this live. Hope everybody's doing okay. How are you, Karia? Hope you're doing okay. This is just sort of in the spur of the moment kind of thing. We got 38 of you watching already. All right, so what did everybody think about Executor? There you go. What do you think about the announcement today? Apple announced the M1 chip, which is, of course, their own silicon. They're now, they're doing their own thing now, right? They're away from Intel. Now, there was a couple of interesting announcements today. They announced a new MacBook Air. They announced a 13-inch MacBook Pro and a Mac Mini. There was no 16-inch MacBook Pro with that M1 chip announced today. There was no iMac or anything like that. So that's pretty much what was announced today. And I'm kind of glad the 16-inch wasn't announced, because I'm live streaming on the MacBook Pro 16 with the Intel Core i9, of course, in this live stream. So I see we already have 41 of you watching. Wow. It always surprises me whenever I do these impromptu live streams. All right, potato salad, you get your shout out. Let's say hello to some people. I saw Mallory here. Karia, I don't know the name of the desk chair. It's a good one, but I forgot the name off the top of my head. I'll let you guys know when I look that up. Executors here, really late night, 3:42 a.m. I don't need soundproofing. I will need for the videos, not for the live stream so much because of this mic, but I'm probably for the regular videos, I will have to soundproof it. Again, I still have I didn't even hang up the pictures yet. My silver play button's back there. But it is such a pleasure to have more space, that's for sure. Fareed, how are you? We might be able to take some calls today. I can't stay too long. I got a lot of things to do here. I'm on a time crunch to get this studio ready by the weekend. You love the new studio, I'm glad. It is a mess here, as you can see here. It is a pretty big mess. And what a nightmare the move was so far. Oh my God, it was just terrible. You know, it was physically, and I lost 5.5 pounds just in the last 2 days. I'm down already doing the keto diet, almost 20 pounds. So that's been pretty good in about a little bit more than a month. So trying to get it down, get back to my fighting weight. So we'll see. All right, let's get into it. Nadine, you think it's going to work out? Yeah, I think the studio is going to work out. I'm not even using any lighting. This is the lighting, the recessed lighting in the room. I didn't even mess with the lighting yet. So it's pretty good so far. It's pretty bright. I may have to tone it down a little bit. But we'll see. You know, there's going to be adjustments. There's going to be a transition period. The back of me is going to obviously have things on it. We're going to hang some of the pictures, and I'm still debating on that as well. Shelves or whatever. Lighting in the back, colored lights. We might have some to bring some color into this. So, yeah, it's been pretty interesting. To M1. No, I'm not changing my intro to M1. 51 of you watching, hit the like button, people. It helps get this disseminated on YouTube. Make sure if you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you do so. It'll help get the channel grow, you know, to help grow the channel, of course, and so forth. So, yeah, we're going to definitely do a lot of things today. We're going to talk about, and again, I can't stay too long tonight, where I am. Let's take a look at the announcement a little bit. Let's bring up the video. And let me choose the video here. And that was not the video. And I always do that because it always starts off on the last one that I did. Let's choose the next video. It was the Apple event. And I'm going to turn off the sound because I don't want to, and I hope I don't get into trouble, you know, because they really, you know, so I'm going to sort of skip around a little bit. All right, so we know what they did today. Let's get to the meat of it. This is the M1, right? The M1 processor, Microsoft, Apple's own silicon that we've been waiting for and hearing about, right? I believe it's, 5 nanometers? That's pretty impressive. If you noticed here, there's a lot of old Macs in the background on this shot. I don't know if you guys noticed it. And one of the things Apple always does is pay attention to detail. They're very detail-oriented. Let's get to the M1, we already know, we saw today. Let's see what the 5 nanometer process, we got Thunderbolt, and it's not, and what's interesting is it's USB 4, but it's not the full Thunderbolt 4 that we just saw on the Dell XPS 13 and on that Asus ZenBook we just took a look at. Let's skip around here. All right, they're talking better quiet performance, better battery life. Let me see if I can find it. Let me see, here it is. So this is the Apple MacBook Air, and it's got that wedge design that we've come to know with that one, actually. There's nothing different about that, I don't think. But it's a pretty interesting, thin, light design. No fan in that. And that's going to be interesting. Which one would you choose? Would you choose the highest-end MacBook Air now with the same chip set as the MacBook Pro 13? They've blurred the line. It's kind of interesting. And what's also interesting is, on the one hand, they talk about, oh, this is a fanless design. This is great. We don't have any fans. But then they say on the MacBook Pro 13, oh, we have active cooling. It's great. It'll have fans in it. So it's kind of talking on both sides of their mouth, of course. Typical Apple stuff, I guess. But pretty interesting. And the other interesting note is they keep touting this M1 chip as being 3 times faster, 5 times faster, 8 times faster than a PC. But what they don't tell you is which chipset are they comparing this to? Again, are they comparing it to Ice Lake? Are they comparing it to an AMD processor? What are they comparing this to? So that's kind of interesting that they don't even say what it's actually faster than just say it's 3 times faster or 6 times. Here you talk about the battery life. Now, I don't doubt the battery life. I think they're going to do really well with the battery life, and they're talking about battery life on video calls, longest battery life ever in a MacBook Air. I think they were touting 18 hours. And we saw with Windows on ARM, by the way, really good battery life potential, right? We saw big numbers with HP. Surface Pro line, the Pro X, had decent battery life, although it's a very thin design. They could probably eke out a little bit more battery life on that. The other thing is still a 720p webcam that I noticed. So I'm hoping it's a better webcam. Kind of was hoping they would go to a 1080p at this point. They had the opportunity, and I don't know if they went for it. I don't think they did. I think this is still a 720p. Now, the display on the MacBook Air is going to be very similar to the one on the MacBook Pro. So this begs the question, which one do you choose? Do you choose the Air or the Pro, right? So it may not be a reason to get the Pro because of course, it has active cooling, but we don't have that much difference in terms of the specs, right? But again, of course, having fans will cool it down. It will run better. We've seen that before. We know that. But it's kind of hard sell right now in the MacBook Pro 13. So that's the MacBook Air that they announced. Really interesting. I'm going to probably most likely get one in early next week when they release it. It starts at $1,000. Interestingly enough, the cores in that GPU are only 7 cores on that entry-level one, not the 8. That's pretty interesting. So then they went on to go, and I don't know what you guys think about it. Let me pause the video for a minute. Let's bring in some questions, and we'll come back to the video in a moment. But let's take some comments. And right, you're asking, and I'm not going to even try to pronounce your name, Jay. I'll just call you Jay. Air or Pro base models. The Air base model has a GPU, integrated GPU of 7 cores. The next model up, of course, has 8 cores. So I would be a little bit skeptical. I think what they do with that 1 core, they actually turn it off. It's there. They just don't enable it on the entry-level model, and probably will do less heat as a result, but you'll get reduced performance. Go to the next level, MacBook Air level up, you're going to get better performance with that 8 cores on their GPU. No compatibility, and this is the other thing I wanted to bring up, no compatibility to an external GPU. You cannot connect this to an external GPU, because that was my first thought. Let's connect it to an external GPU. You cannot do that from what I understand. So interesting stuff today, right, Tech Realm? Intel said AMD so many times in their event. Yeah, they did when they had their event. Apple was very coy of when they were comparing 3 times, 6 times, 8 times better. What processor are they comparing it to? Nobody was talking about that. And all the YouTubers who get the pre-production units, or they get the early units and get all the views, of course, they don't tell you, they don't actually say or ask that question, really, pose that question. What are they comparing this to? So that's a pretty interesting thing. How do you do in Aditya? I don't know why, but the M1 chip was kind of meh. Yeah, I can see where you're coming from. They didn't show actual benchmarks comparisons. No, that's Apple. That's typical Apple. I wouldn't expect them to. 96 of you watching. And for those joining us now, we've been live streaming for about almost 20 minutes already, which is just nuts. Actually, maybe 5 minutes for the countdown, of course, to let people get in. I'm talking about the M1 chip today, announced at the Apple event. There's a new MacBook Air, which we just looked at in the video. There's a MacBook Pro 13, which we'll look at soon. But we're going to talk about the Mac Mini, which made an appearance today. The biggest takeaway I took away so far with that MacBook Air, and I think this will apply throughout the whole line, no compatibility to an external GPU. That's one thing. There is no comparison to actual specific processors that they are touting as being better than. In other words, they're not telling us which Intel processor, which AMD processor they're beating. I'm sure we'll get the units in, of course, next week, and we'll find out. But I find it very interesting at these events. No benchmarks, no specifics as to comparisons. So that's been pretty interesting. Rudin is saying, I just hope fanless doesn't lead to any sort of disaster. I don't think so. I think it will run warm, maybe even hot, of course. Again, I don't know. I don't have one to test, but I will be getting one into review. So again, I will have to go out of pocket for this one. So with that being said, any super chats will certainly help. Any memberships, of course, helps the channel on a monthly basis. All that is in the link below. You can hit the join button, or you could check out my channel and you can hit the join button, of course. And I'm kind of glad, Karia, that I didn't go and get well, I'm glad that they didn't announce a 16-inch. Probably we'll see that next year, sometime in the spring, I would imagine. We'll see an iMac, redesign iMac, which is sorely needed. That's a really dated design at this point. So let me get comfortable here. So yeah, it's a pretty interesting stuff today that they decided. And by the way, you can still get the Intel versions of each of them. So they didn't do a total transition today, but they're moving in that direction, of course. And they, I guess, wanted to dip their feet in the water, so to speak. And then they went with that. So if we go back to the video, let's see the next thing that they announced. Let's resume the last video here. And then the next thing they announced, I believe, was going to be the Mac Mini, as you see here. Now, I actually like the Mac Mini, and I might order one because I'm having a 3 desks in this big space that I have now. And I want to test one out and see how that would do for video editing, specifically Final Cut Pro. So here they're showing the Mac Mini, and that is something that's pretty interesting. It's been around a long time. Didn't have too many refreshes over the last few years, just spec bumps here and there. So I think it was kind of time to really bring it back in a sense. And now they're putting their M1 chip in it. So that could be pretty interesting. And I want to see how it will perform with Final Cut Pro, for me specifically doing video editing, because I like to do video editing, as you know. And here's a side view, as you can see my studio while they're talking here. But they're talking 3 times faster CPU, right? What CPU are they talking about? You know, they're just doing generalities here. They're not being specific. So that's pretty interesting. Yeah, they're still selling it, Fernando. They're still selling Macs with Intel chips. And they said they would do that, so I'm not surprised by that. 6 times faster graphics, 6 times faster than what, is my question. I'm not bragging on Apple. I'm just curious, and I'm surprised. I didn't see anybody else talking about this. I don't believe there's boot camp support, right? I don't think you could run Windows on this, not with their new chipset, if I'm not mistaken. Cannot connect it to an external GPU. I keep harping on that. These are things people are going to ask right off the bat. Can you do all these things? And I'm telling you right now, you can't. I would probably guess they will release the new MacBook Pro 16 sometime next year, at some point. They're not doing it now. If they were going to do it now, they would have announced it. And I found that very interesting. None of the Pro models other than the 13 got a run at this, right? And like you said, Mallory, no boot camp on this, on the M1 chip, so no boot camp. 15 times ML performance faster. Again, faster than what, right? So they're just saying PCs in general, but that could mean anything. AMD chips, Intel chips, right? So what are we talking about here? They're ARM chips, right, from Qualcomm. We saw the HCX chip or the HCX2 more recently. So pretty interesting stuff, right? They might do, and she's saying, she said they might do, let me move this over here, a silent update to the MacBook Pro to the 10th gen processor. Won't be ARM for a while. Yeah, that might be a possibility. Here, Thunderbolt, USB 4, Ethernet, HDMI 2 on the Mac Mini, USB-A. So pretty interesting stuff. I'm going to get one into review. So those are 2 things that I got to get, right? 2 things I got to go out of pocket. So Lakshya, and let me move this, make it a little bit smaller here, and then move it over. So you're saying, I think Apple has nailed it. The M1 is much more powerful than the Intel. And that's the same last year's price. Yeah, it's interesting. Listen, this is interesting stuff, to say the least. I'm excited about it. I'm looking forward to getting it in high 8K view. How are you? Wide array of ports, in quotations, yes. We'll see. Again, I'm going to tell you right now, that Thunderbolt 4 port, or that Thunderbolt port, I should say, I don't even know if it's 4. It does support USB 4, according to them, is not the full Thunderbolt that we just saw on something like the XPS 13 that I have here. It's not going to be the same. So that was a little bit of an area they did not go full throttle on, from what I understand. So pretty interesting. Now, I don't know about Hackintosh. Is booming, is that the only way? And I don't think you can Hackintosh this, right? I'm pretty sure you can't because this is not an Intel chip. I'm not really sure how you would be able to do that. Maybe there is a way. I don't know. One more thing, a dongle. Was there a super chat? Oh, okay. Let me go back. And Cameron Bosch with the $5 super chats. Sorry about that. I missed that. Thank you, Aditya, for letting me know. VMware is coming by the end of 2021. So we got a ways to go with that, but they did announce it. So yeah, I would imagine they're going to do that. Here's the MacBook Pro 13, by the way. Thank you for that super chat, Cameron. You're a real gentleman and a scholar at that. Now, this is the MacBook Pro 13. And as you can see, same body that we've seen with that touch bar, touch ID. It's, I believe, thinner. Didn't they say it was thinner than the MacBook Air? Anyway, maybe I'm mistaken on that. But either way, they're very similar. The difference is, of course, this is going to have, of course, the M1 chip, just like the MacBook Air. But this is the 13-inch MacBook Pro, not the 16-inch MacBook Pro. So nothing with a dedicated GPU and the M1 chip so far. I'm sure they're saving that for early next year, I would imagine. So we'll see. Aditya Patel is saying redesign bezel-less 16-inch with 4K OLED, 120 frames per second, please. I would like to see less bezels, but they're moving in that right direction with the 16-inch. That would be nice. And again, this 5-nanometer chipset is definitely going to allow them to go thinner. Question is heat, of course, and what is the discrete GPU going to do on that, right? What are they going to do? Are they going to stick with what they have now? We'll have to see. If I miss any super chats, by the way, let me know. I'll go back. 144 of you watching. I'm on a little bit of different setup, of course, here in my new studio. So that is all that's been announced today. So let's stop the video before I probably get demonetized or something worse than that if Apple tries to flag this for whatever reason. I'm not really going through the whole thing. I'm just talking about a newsworthy event here. Hopefully they won't do that to me, but we'll see. So Melez is saying, it seems like Apple wants you to change equipment on a frequent basis. How is that eco-friendly? Yeah, I mean, they sell a ton of products. I suspect they're going to sell a ton of these as well. Hopefully this weekend, but it's going to, the more I have to do, Tech Realm, I don't know if you joined me in the beginning, it's going to take about, I would say about a good month until we're fully up and running. I still have to do, and here you can get a look at it. I got to soundproof the room more. I mean, there's still so much to do. Here you can see over here on this side. Again, it's a pretty big space compared to what I had previously. And you see where that sofa is with my jacket on and all the crap around it. And then you see the stack of laptops in the background. What I'm going to do there is I'm going to be putting a 65-inch OLED TV there from LG. I anticipate getting that very soon. And then I'm going to put a nice coffee table and I'm going to relax on that area when I'm not filming or doing any live streaming. So that's going to be my little area. I'll have a fridge there, a mini fridge. Have a few drinks in there and we'll be off and running, right? So there you go. Yeah, I need it. This move, and I don't know if you saw in the beginning, this move has been a nightmare to say the least. This is I would say it's a good 800, I think an 800 square feet. It's a pretty big space. So there you go. What do you mean, what's the delay? Do I have a delay in my mic or a delay in getting the studio ready? I don't know. Yeah, I got to do an Atmos soundbar. How's the live stream, by the way? Does it look okay? How's the lighting? I didn't do any lighting. This is the recessed lighting that I have in the studio. I haven't done anything. I haven't even brought out my big guns in terms of the lighting. I just did, let's go live, and I just hit the button, basically. So we'll see. Yeah, India-friendly time. Yeah, this is an impromptu. Again, like I said, I want to add a second one during the week. I want to stick to that. Sunday as well. That's a good time, 10 a.m. That's been doing great. We got 170 of you watching right now with no planning, nothing. So that's pretty good. I'm happy to see that. Lights are good. Yeah, I when I put these LED lights in, I went very high quality, good specifics on that. And I still have my other regular lighting that I use for videos and stuff that I can use, but I haven't done anything today. I just put the mic in, got my MacBook Pro, got my, what do you call it? The Rode Procaster. Let's see if I can put it down a little bit. There you go. And you can see my desk here. And again, I have another black desk coming, and it's going to be a sponsored video from FlexiSpot coming. We'll talk about that when I do my formal studio tour. Here's the A10 Mini, my camera switcher. I have only 2 working today. I've got my Stream Deck here. And then, of course, my Rodecaster Pro microphone and my MacBook. There you go. You can see it here. My MacBook Pro 16, you've seen it before, and that's pretty much it. Okay, so you can see the carpet there. I kept the carpet in because probably deadened the sound and stuff. So again, just playing around with it. I'm going to probably have a different permutations of it. We'll see how that all goes. Do I look good, Nadine? Thank you. Sound is excellent. Good, good, good. I'm glad to hear that, Adam. That means a lot to me. 167 of you. Yeah, so Mallory, what are you going to do? Are you going to wait for that iMac, right? You want that iMac. But the iMac I would wait for is the one coming up that wasn't announced today. That's probably what I would do. But, of course, if you need it, you got to go for it, right? Go get it now. Looks professional already. I haven't really, I promise you I haven't done anything. I put the black accent wall and then got gray walls here. And I had good guys did a good job painting it. So, and then you could see my silver play button there. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty interesting stuff here. I'll keep showing you guys that. Yeah, I mean, it's, get the camera out of the way. Yeah, it's pretty hectic. It costs a lot of money to do a new studio. I shouldn't have to tell you guys how much this has cost me so far. It's been ridiculous. But it's worth it. It's a good investment, I think, to really expand and grow the channel. We really need to, and I want to take it into an even higher level. I want to go to that next level from where we started to where we can go. There's so much possibilities. Now, this is what I'm going to check out when I do get one, Fresh Brownie. Do you recommend the new Mac Mini to stream and play Roblox? I'm not playing Roblox, but you probably do at the same time. I want to stream like the gamer streamers on YouTube and Twitch. Now, here's the thing. I don't know. It has that, again, integrated graphics, but they're touting 8 cores. They're touting it's great. It's the next best thing since sliced bread. So I don't know. Again, I always say the proof is in the pudding. So let's get him into the studio and let's get it done. So, you know, that's why my thing. So what we didn't see here today, and as I mentioned earlier, no 16-inch MacBook Pro, no iMac, which I think is in, again, dire need of a refresh with those huge bezels. Doesn't the XE graphics have 96 XEE units? I don't know. I don't know. I could tell you one thing, though, about the XE graphics that I've been using so far on the laptops that I've reviewed and that are upcoming. I'm impressed. I think they did a really good job with it. And I'm looking forward to what AMD is going to do in their 5000 series mobile processors. I really want to see how that's going to all play out. All right, what am I streaming on? What are you streaming on? I really like your setup. It's very clean and professional. Yeah, okay, I'm streaming on an Apple MacBook Pro 16. And you can see it here. So I have a MacBook Pro 16. I use the Rodecaster Pro here. And that's for my sound. And that's my sound mixer. And then this is the A10 Mini, which I absolutely love. And my A10 Mini is my camera switcher. I have 2 cameras today. I could have up to 4. Now, this is a Dell Thunderbolt dock that I use. It's really good. And that's pretty much it. And then I showed you already the Studio. So let's move that out. Again, this is just thrown together real quick to give you guys a little glimpse of the studio. It is not done by any stretch. We're just beginning. I still got more to build out here, but it's going to take some time. But I think we can go forward with this if I can, so I don't miss any live streams. I got to start making some more videos. Again, this move has been really held me back in terms of getting stuff out, but it's necessary and I have to go through it to get it done. I do have a pet. I have a dog. His name is Max. You've seen him on videos in the past. Every now and then, I sometimes sneak him in there. He's a cute dog. I don't know what he is, so don't even ask me. He's a mixture of all. It's a little alien. That's what he is. Is the M1 better than Intel and AMD, Jovi? I don't know. That's the question, right? I look forward to seeing that battle coming very soon because I'm going to get the MacBook Air next week, hopefully, and the Mac Mini hopefully next week as well, so we'll see. Yeah, I'm waiting on Lenovo for the Nano. I'm waiting for the Nano. I'm waiting for the Fold. Okay, here we go. We got a super chat from Melees. And actually it's a super sticker, I should say. And thank you very much, $1.99. All right, I appreciate that, man. For the $1.99 super sticker. All right. All right, here's my quandary. We got to talk about something here. I have it in my cart at Best Buy, right? I'm ready to buy the HP Spectre 14 for you guys. It's like $1,700 or $1,800 with tax here in Nevada. I reach out to HP. I said, hey, are you going to be sending review units? And they said, yes, we put an order in. We're waiting for them to come in. Now, HP is great when it comes to review units, but they do take their time. They do everything very methodically, and it's not the fastest sometimes, which is fine. They do very professional, and they really brief the press, the media very well. So I can go out of pocket for that and not get the MacBooks, or I can wait on HP and not be the first, I'm sure. I won't be the first anyway, to get it, and then get the HP review unit. And that's probably what I'm going to do because I'm going to have to go out of pocket for the MacBook Air. I don't think I'm going to do the Pro, simply because it's too similar to the Air. The difference is the fan, one is fan-less and one has a fan, right? One of fans, or maybe one, I don't know. But I cannot buy all three if I wanted to get the HP. You know, if I couldn't, I just can't do it in the budget with this move and so forth. So not going to happen. So I have to pick and choose. So that's my update on the HP Spectre X360. That's the 14-inch with the 3:2. Actually, really a 13.5-inch display. 3:2 aspect ratio, 3000 by 2000. I will be getting it. I just don't know when. I'm promised it by HP, so I should be getting it soon. I could go to the checkout right now and get it from Best Buy. I don't want to do that. And then if I wanted to return it and when the holiday season, and I don't want to have to deal with that. So let's see. It's called, it's funny, right, Karia? Is the HP Spectre 14 or 13.5? They call it a 14 because they're rounding it up, but it really is a 13.5-inch, specifically 3:2 aspect ratio display. Yeah, so that's what that is. Yeah, no, I am going to get the Mac Mini. I'm not getting the MacBook Pro. Did I say the Mini? I'm probably tired from all this. I will be getting the MacBook Air with the new M1 chip. I'll be getting the Mac Mini with the M1 chip. Those are the two that I'm planning on getting. I'm not getting the MacBook Pro 13. I just don't think it's going to be different enough, at least from my initial impression so far, from the MacBook Air. So that's probably what I'm going to do. I love 3:2 aspect ratio, as you guys know. I love the Surface line because of that. I look forward to more laptops getting that as well. All right, we have 186 of you watching right now, or at least according to that. Yeah, so it's a pretty good turnout today, considering this is an impromptu stream. The Mac Mini is pretty interesting to me because I think it's going to be powerful enough to do certain things. They did talk about 4K video editing. I'll see. I do my videos in 4K, so we'll see. One of the reasons I want to check it out is, again, video production from my end, because I want to see if that can replace my iMac, which is a dinosaur at this point. It's 2017 iMac, which of course is a little bit long in the tooth, but it did the job. It still does the job, of course. But I'd like to do something that saves a little bit more space, although I will have to use a monitor with the Mac Mini, of course, but I can definitely work around that. And I'm pretty interested in to see how that integrated graphics on the new M1 chip with its 8 cores will perform. We'll have to see how that's all going to play out. All right. Yeah, I'm going to compare Ryzen's with it. I'm going to compare it all. I mean, you're going to get the whole shebang with me. Yeah, Danica would have loved the HP Spectre 15, right? I think she's talked about it before, especially with a 3-2, if they launch a 3-2. I have a sneaking suspicion we might see one by next year. If the 14-inch or the 13.5 or the 14, what they like to call it, does well, I think we'll see a 15-inch. We'll see a 3-2 if they make that kind of display. Now, that's the other thing. If they're going with OLED, will they be able to have OLED displays with that aspect ratio? If they get enough demand, yeah, probably we can see something like that. That's a good question. I have one here, and I'll probably turn it around now. I don't even know the model. Dell sent me one a little whiles back. Let me try to show this to you guys, but without ripping the cord here. Okay, I don't know if I can do this without messing things up. I do have, and I'm not going to do it because I don't want to rip out the cord. I do have the Dell monitor. It's a 4K monitor. I think it's a 32-inch. I'll show you when I do my studio tour. I will show it with a Mac Mini once I get that. Again, the Mac Mini, it costs, I think, it starts at $699. But again, I don't know which model I'm going to go with. I still have to order it. I still didn't do that yet. I haven't had time with this freaking building out the studio, so we'll see. Yeah, that's the thing why Dell, right, Telcrealm, you're correct. Dell wasn't able to get the OLED on 16:10. But I got to say, and I've said this time and time again, that IPS display is fantastic, and they did some really good stuff. I think it's I don't know if it's a Sharp Exo display. I don't remember. But it is a fantastic display with that move to the 16:10, and I don't miss the OLED. Or to be honest with you, not on that Dell XPS 13, not at all, or the 15, or the 17. So, all right, don't worry about it. I got the picture. I got the gist. All right, good question. Should we buy the new Mac right away, meaning any of the new models, or wait till we actually see how it performs? I always say wait. Let me do the dirty work, as they say. Let me take one for the team, financially, time-wise. Let me test it, and I'll tell you if it's good or not, because I know a lot of you are going to wait to see what's my take on it. Some people may not wait to see what my take is on it, but if for some reason you want to wait, I will be getting one hopefully next week. I'm planning on it. Hopefully it might be I might do the MacBook Air first and then the Mac Mini. We'll see. Again, so much going on right now. All right. Okay, I just want to check something. All right. All right, so we have 212 people watching. Hit the like button, people. Let me check to see how this is doing in the real world. Let's see here. See, we got a little bump in subscribers while we did this. Yeah, it's looking good. Looking good so far. All right, so pricing, I think we already went over. Well, I'm sure you saw it. Let's go back to the video. Let's see if we can get some pricing. I know the MacBook Air starts at $999. The MacBook Pro, I think, starts at $1299. Those prices are the same from the last gen. The Mac Mini, I believe, starts at $699. Again, they do also have student pricing, which I think takes off $100. So that's where that all will go. The big question, should you get the MacBook Pro or the MacBook Air? Depends. Do you want to have a silent laptop? Go with the Air. If you want better performance, theoretically, because of the fans, get the Pro. If you want the touch bar, which I don't know why anybody would, then go with the MacBook Pro. Other than that, they have pretty much the same display, very similar displays. Pretty much, they'll have the same chipset. They'll have the same storage options. They won't have that cooling as you see there as far as the Air is concerned, but everything else pretty much stays the same. So you'll save a few $100s actually going with the Air as opposed to the Pro, right? So that's the $1 million question. Again, we need to get this into the studio. We need to do our testing to see the difference. What fanless versus fans have to bring to the table. So we'll see, okay? Yeah, and so it's I would say it's a pretty interesting announcement today. Pretty interesting. Now let's talk battery life, because that's the big thing they're touting here. Big time battery life out of both the Air and the Pro. They're saying 4 times, code compiles on a single chip. Again, we don't know what are they comparing that to, right? Which chipset are they comparing that to? Specifics, they don't give you that. So there you go. But again, if you want that touch bar, then you have to go with the Pro. I'm not a big fan of the touch bar, as I stated in previous live streams and in previous videos. I can live without it. Touch ID I actually like. We don't have Face ID, at least not yet, on these models, so we don't have that. We were hoping to see that at some point. I anticipate we're going to see it. We're getting more and more like the iPads. We're getting more like the iPhones. The mesh, the blending between the Mac OS, iPad OS is starting to blur, right? The borders between the two are blurring. They're becoming more like each other. And that's the other thing they were touting, right? Being able to run iPhone apps or iPad apps, I guess, natively on the MacBooks because they're running basically the same chips, although this one's a rebranded M1. It's a little different, of course, in some ways. But again, for the most part, the architecture is pretty much the same from what I understand. If I miss a super chat, let me know, because it's a little bit of a different setup today for me. All right. Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping that they do have Face ID, and I would think so. I think that's where they're going to have to go. Although it's nice having a fingerprint on my Pixel 5, I got to tell you, because let me go switch back to this camera here. On the Pixel 5, which I have here in the camera right here, great, because when you're wearing a mask, don't have any issues with face recognition as you do with Face ID and so forth. So there you go. And by the way, I'm loving the... let me show it to you. I'm loving this Pixel 5. I have this case. The case is not so nice looking, but it does the job. And this is the green one. I didn't do a full review on it yet. I did show it in a live stream. I've been using it quite a bit. Very, very impressive stuff. I actually like it. All right. So we're now at, 47 minutes in. I'm not going to make it too long tonight, people. I know it's starting to go up the numbers, 269. That's pretty good. I hate to leave on such a high note, but let's keep going a little bit more. Let's take a few more questions. Andrew, Apple lists at the bottom of their MacBook Air and Pro websites the testing platforms to make their 6X, 3X claims. Okay, so what are they claiming against? Tell us. I don't know. If you have to read the fine print, they're not telling you. I mean, that's ridiculous. I mean, they are telling you, but they're not telling you. They're not telling because most people are not looking, right? So there you go. I could hit 3,000, 2,000. We'll be here all year, probably, the rest of the year. Our record, and I think Tech Realm can attest to this, we're about to hit 300. Tech Realm could tell you our record is 715. We did it, I think, when the Dells were announced with the new XPS line. I think we hit it. I think they're claiming against their own comparable models, probably. But when they're saying 3, 6, 8 times, they were saying against PCs, right? A lot of the time. So I want to know which PC, which chipset they were using, and so forth. Don't buy a Dell. Dell sucks. That's, some people say that. I disagree. All right. Super chat from Vincent Toy. $2. Base Spectre X360 14 or Ryzen 5 Envy X360. Ooh, that's a good one. I don't know. I didn't get the 14-inch or 13.5 real to be specific. I didn't get it in yet, so I don't know. Ryzen 5 Envy X360 13-inch I reviewed. It's actually a wonderful laptop. And stay tuned. I will be doing my Laptop of the Year awards, and that one is definitely in the running as its 15-inch variant. So stay tuned. But I can't tell you yet because I don't have the 14-inch yet of the Spectre. Of course not, Aditya. They're not going to tell you. They're marketing people, right? That's what they do best. They're going to try to market it to you and so forth. So there you go. All right. Okay, let's see here. So the Yoga 7i 11 Intel or the ThinkPad T14 AMD. The T14 I think I did, right? I think I did the 14S with the AMD, and I think I did the Intel, and I did the comparison, which I loved, but I went with the AMD. That got my choice right there. I have the Yoga 7i 11 Intel coming in, the 11th gen coming in this week. So stay tuned for that. We will test that out when I get it. They're shipping it out probably tomorrow. I spoke to them today, Lenovo. So that's coming. All right. We don't know if it's going to be the M2 chip. Could be. Probably next year for the MacBook Pro 16. We'll have to see. And by the way, I said this earlier. There's no option for an eGPU, an external GPU, which I think is not going to be happy. People are not going to be happy about that. I mean, how many people are doing that? But at least they had the option with the Intel version. Here they don't. Okay, that's going to be the case, Mallory. Of course they're going to be blown away by it. So, yeah, especially when they're getting these early units, right? So I'm sure they're all going to do their testing. I would be interested in what Max Tech has to say. He's been pretty good. He'll give you the numbers, the raw numbers. The others, I don't call them reviewers. They're more like, how should I put this? They're influencers, right? That's exactly what they're doing. They're swaying you one way or the other, right? So we'll see. Steve Jobs or Tim Cook as Apple CEO? Wow, that's a good question. I think what Tim Cook is good at is the marketing. Not the marketing. He's good at the logistics of getting the units to the people. He's a master at that. That's what he was doing when Steve was there. Steve's great. Steve was a genius when it comes to marketing. There's no question about that. It's been well documented. Who's better? It's hard to say because under Tim Cook, they went from a great, really successful company to another stratosphere. They're the most valuable company in the world, and it's by far. It's not even close, right? So, or something to that effect. So you got to give Tim Cook props for being able to take this company that was really successful when Steve passed away and then took it to another level. Although some can maybe say that was planned out before Steve died. They had a roadmap. I think it's a combination of both. I think he's good at what he does. Obviously, he wouldn't be the CEO of Apple if he wasn't. So there you go. All right, Dakish Garg, stop spamming the chat. You're going to be thrown out, or you're going to be timed out, or whatever. So don't do it. Because I was going to answer that question for you, but now I'm not, because you decided to spam the chat. Obviously, you're not a regular here, so you don't know the rules. The rules are you don't spam the chat, you'll get booted otherwise. So there you go. All right. Hey, William, how you doing? They are technical politicians. They tell you a lot without telling you much. Yes, that's their job, right? That's what they do. That's what Apple does. That's what the other companies do. But Apple's they're the masters at that. Basically not telling you anything. Yeah, Cameron, they're good. Yes, to some extent, we're all influencers. I mean, I'm probably an influencer to some degree, but I'm a reviewer. That's the way I see to differentiate myself. I'm a reviewer. I think Lisa of Mobile Tech Review is a reviewer. That's the vein that I'm in. I don't think, you know, and I don't want to bash these bigger channels, and they're going to get the early units and they're going to get all the views because that's the way the algorithm works. I'm not going to bash them. God bless them. They got there. They worked hard, but they're not reviewing these products. Let's be clear. You know, so when MKBHD, who is great, by the way, I have no problem for what he does. Is he really reviewing it? Is he really giving you the numbers? Not really. He's just telling you what he likes about it from a consumer's perspective, I guess, and that's good. There's a space for that, and I don't think he's pretending to be something like more technical, more specific, more involved in the review process. But I'm sure he has to pick and choose what he's going to review. I review my way, and that's the way I'm going to do it. Whether the companies like it or not, I give the disclaimer, and I'm not going to be swayed by anything. They're not going to be able to tell me what to say in a review. They're not going to get copy approval. I don't give it. And I've lost deals because of that. I've lost sponsorship from companies. I've lost money-making opportunities because I'm not going to lose my integrity. So there you go. I believe the webcam, if you're talking about it, is 720p. It's not. They're saying it's going to look better somehow because of the M1 chip. I don't know how that plays into that. Maybe it's part of the processing power. I don't know, but that's what they're saying. Yeah, you saw it, Roblox. Yeah, that's what he's talking about. That's the silver play button that I got from YouTube. I just passed 100,000 a few months ago. We're about 103,000 plus right now. A little bit of a lull coming into the season, but we're starting to pick up again. Which am I personally getting and why? I'm going to pick up the MacBook Air, and the reason is it's going to be too close to the MacBook Pro. Difference is one is fanless, one has fans. I don't think for the everyday average consumer is going to see the difference between the two. I don't care for the touch bar, so that's not an issue for me. That's a non-starter as far as I'm concerned. Both have Touch ID. Both have very similar displays, and the Air is much cheaper as far as the few $100s, which certainly makes a difference. So I definitely will do it if I had to do that. Now, I was hoping they would give an announcement today of the MacBook 12. I wanted to see that 12-inch announced, but it wasn't. Maybe we'll see a reappearance of that somewhere down the road. Who knows? We'll see. Probably William, I would think they would do that probably next year at this point. Probably springtime is my guess. I don't know. I also want to see an updated iMac. A refresh is definitely needed for the iMac. Parallels, they stated earlier, somebody in the chat stated earlier that they did make an announcement. They will have compatibility for Parallels end of 2021. So that's a ways off, but it was announced today, apparently, from what one of you guys have said. So that's going to come through. 275 of you watching right now. I'm also expecting a 14-inch predictions. I don't know. That's a good question. Personal question. Favorite genre of music. I like all sorts of music. My favorite band is U2, which if you saw, I wore a Joshua Tree shirt last time on. I like classic rock. I like heavy metal. I like all sorts of music. But my favorite band of all time is U2. There's no question. I've seen over 50 plus concerts. I've traveled around the world, little known fact, to see them play. Most recently, we went, we saw them here in Las Vegas when they did the tour last year, and then we went in 2017 to the Joshua Tree 30th anniversary tour. That's where I got this shirt. So, yep. So there you go. A little personal tidbit there for you on this impromptu live stream here Tuesday, still here in Las Vegas, Tuesday, November 10th, 2020, 7:33 p.m. Pacific time. All right. Nadine is saying small screens, not so great for video editing and us artists. Well, yeah, that's why I was hoping. Well, I'm kind of glad they didn't announce a 16-inch because I bought this baby that I'm on right now, spent $3,000 plus on, and so I'm kind of glad in some ways not, because I would like to see what is the 16-inch going to entail as far as a discrete GPU. How are they going to work that in with their own silicon, the M1? So that should be pretty good. Adem Dior, let me check out your question earlier. Wait for the 16-inch refresh. What should I do? $2,400. $2,400 yet a year old and maxed out 13-inch that came out at the same time. Thanks. If you can get a good deal on it, then obviously if you need it now, get it. I would wait if you're looking for a 16-inch MacBook Pro, from what I understand, or a 13-inch. Well, 13-inch you can get now if you want to go with the M1. I don't know what the 16-inch with the M1 and a discrete GPU, if that's what's going to have. I don't know. We don't have any of that information yet. So I would wait on the 16. If anybody's asking right now, unless you absolutely need it for work or a specific project and you need to have that 16-inch MacBook Pro, then go get it with the Intel. That's the one I'm using here for live streaming to you people today. But I would wait. That's the thing. I would wait if you can, because I'm kind of glad I didn't have to feel fear of missing out or FOMO, because I could not go out and buy a 16-inch MacBook Pro again for $3,000+ after doing that a few months ago, or 3-4 months ago, whatever it's been so far. And I love it, by the way. This is working out great. I'm live streaming on it right now, working out great. Okay, and it's great for video editing, especially with Final Cut Pro, which is, of course, well optimized for it. Yeah, the U2 Apple controversy. What he's talking about is when they put the album preloaded on the iPods or whatever it was, or the iPhones. I don't remember. Anyway, they preloaded. You couldn't get rid of it. It was the iPod, I believe. Anyway, they preloaded it and you couldn't get it off. It was a digital download, and they had to even put a special app to remove it. And it was a bad PR nightmare for U2. They apologized since, and they realized the mistake they made. Apple made a mistake with that, but you know what happens. But there are still people today that still have it stuck on their playlist because they can't remove it, because I don't think that tool is still there, that removal tool. Very interesting. Look up on Google, U2 Apple controversy with that digital download for their album. So that was pretty interesting. I think that was back in 2009, I believe, or something to that effect. Do you think the MacBook Air would be able to handle music production? It might. And the way they're touting it, yes. If you listen to the PR people today, or the marketing people, is what they are, yeah, they say that it can do it. I'm not a music guy, so I don't know. I do sound, as far as sound like what you hear now in video production and in live streams. I'm curious to see. And the Air, again, silent, meaning you don't have fan noise to contend with, especially when you're recording. And that's always a concern when I have something like this with this Rodecaster Pro and having the MacBook here, which the fans will kick in. And right now, I do hear it, but it's not terrible. But it is something that you have to keep in mind, especially for professional sound people, sound engineers and so forth. That's going to be an issue maybe. But again, I don't know. We don't know any of this until we get it into the studio and do the testing. Do you use Mac? Right, do you use Apple's music production software? Because that's probably going to be well optimized, as is Final Cut Pro for the video side of things. Yes, I have one on the way. I have the 15-inch with the 11th gen, by the way, people. That's coming as well. We have 94 likes, 3 dislikes, no problem. 234 watching right now. We've hit the hour mark, and I think we're going to start wrapping it up here. Here's from LX. I would never buy an overpriced Mac because Apple won't release iOS software build tools for Windows. I am forced to get one for app development. Yeah, I mean, the pricing is always aggressive. Well, they're not aggressive. They're high. That's the other difference between Macs and PCs. PCs tend to come in at a better price for better specs. But what they are touting, what they touted today, $999 gets you the entry-level MacBook Air. But that one, if you read the fine print, has their GPU, the integrated GPU, only has 7 cores. The eighth core is not turned on. They disabled that. It's there. It's just not in use. That's what the Apple does. Those are the things that they do. Now, you'll presumably get less heat from that, but of course, that comes with less performance. If you go to the model up, then you will get, obviously, the full 8 cores in effect. Yeah, you're paying it. Yep, they do. They definitely put a tax on it for the Apple name, for the Apple logo. You definitely are paying more than you would as in a Windows equivalent. Now, is this going to be, the question is this going to be a game changer with this move to the M1? I don't know. You know, when Windows was moving to ARM, we saw a few of these laptops evolve over the last couple of years. There was no mass adoption with it. And I think that might be part of Windows, their marketing people, and as far as Microsoft, and their push is a little different than obviously than Apple's. Their reach was maybe a little bit different. It didn't catch on, and I'm anticipating that with the force of Apple and the popularity of Apple and the marketing wizardry of Apple, yeah, they will definitely sell a ton of these. I can't see how they're not. Now, it's not going to be on the level of iPhones. That's clear. The iPhone's in another stratosphere when it comes to demand and when it comes to popularity. Laptops just don't have that cachet, not right now. Could that change with the M1? Maybe. Hate is a strong word. That is correct. All right. Wow, I'm having so much fun today. For those joining us late, 211 of you watching right now. This was an impromptu live stream. I was building out my studio, and I decided, what the hell, let's just do it. Let's go live. I didn't have one on Sunday because we moved here to the new studio. So far, so good. The look and the sound looks okay, right? So I think we can go forward with this. It will evolve over time. It won't be finished totally, maybe ever. It could, because it constantly will change, and I'll constantly be tweaking things. But for the most part, I'm glad I'm here. And I'm glad that I'm able to get back to you guys and to be able to live stream tonight. It was fun. So we're gonna, and yeah, Melez, it was a lot of fun tonight, and we're gonna start wrapping it up right now. So I want to thank everybody, the moderators, once again on this impromptu surprise live stream tonight. We wanted to talk about all the announcements today from Apple regarding the M1 chip. Windows on ARM. No, it's Mac on ARM now. So we're going to have to see Bakish Garg. If you keep repeating your questions, you'll never get an answer. That's the moral of the story. All right, Milo, thank you. You like the brightness. Oh, by the way, the air conditioning is better, William. No worries on that front. This is good. All right, people, I'm going to see you in the next live stream. I hope to have the studio ready. New videos on the way. I'm working on them as we speak. Stay tuned. Make sure you hit that. You see the sub boxes. Make sure the bell is checked. And I'll see everybody in the next live stream, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.